What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Taking a look at this Raizeol. I'm not sure. I like to call it Ryza for some reason. That was the first thing that stuck in my mind. I'm going to take a look at this deck profile. Now, this is the Onomat version. I did showcase a YouTube video of like a gameplay one showcasing what this deck can do. And I just wanted to go through the deck profile. After this, I'll show a couple of combos because when you're watching the gameplay videos, it can be a little bit chaotic to kind of understand what's going on. I'll talk about some of the things I think you could change about the deck. But overall, I'm very impressed. Now, the power level of this deck may be a little bit lower than some that I've played in the past, especially when I have a little bit more of the Utopia stuff. But of course, the Raizeol stuff locks you into rank 4, so you have to be a little bit careful there. But what you lose in the ceiling, you get a much higher floor, which I think makes this deck really good. And as you can see here at the top, one of the big things is this deck is so crazy. Everything searches itself, so you can run a lot of non-engine. As you can see here, I'm running 15 non-engine cards, and you really, truly can do that. So 3 copies of Imperm, 3 copies of Ash, 3 copies of Moonlit Chill, 3 copies of Ghost Ogre, and 3 Cashtier Fenrir. Now, of course, you can change these hand traps out for Droll and Lockbird, whatever the case may be, right? There's a gajillion different hand traps that you could be playing, but I do think that this is what makes the deck the best. Like, being able to go second and having the confidence that you're not just going to have those 9 hand traps, hope you see them, hope it makes a big impact. Or maybe you're running 6 traditional hand traps plus Fenrir, and you're like, hopefully that can break a board. This gives you a little bit of confidence that you're going to see some cards that are going to interrupt your opponent. And besides the fact, which I'll talk about later, you can also run Pot of Prosperity. Like, that in and of itself as a package to start your deck out is extremely powerful. 1 copy of Raizeol. Now, I do like to run 1 copy. You are locked into XYZ monsters for the rest of the turn. Who cares, right? It doesn't really matter. Fenrir can be a little awkward, okay, truthfully, because some of these require you to only control level or rank 4 monsters, and that can be a little bad. But at the end of the day, this is a free special summon, and this is a free level 4 body. And I think it's just a little too good to pass up. 1 copy of Node, and who knows what these names will actually be called, right? Can't wait for these to come out. This one lets you tribute or essentially send a card from hand to field, and it lets you bring back a Raizeol, and you'll see 1 combo where that does come up. 3 copies of Ice. This is cool. This card lets you special summon from the hand by sending a card from hand or field to the graveyard. Or as a normal summon, it brings out a Raizeol from the deck. So you're not always going to see your Onomat engine. That's always been the problem with this deck, is like if you don't see these cards, like normally you're in a really bad place. Just replaces it. And he gives you either a free special summon or a very powerful normal summon. And I'll showcase both scenarios right after I get through the deck profile. So 3 of these. 3 copies of Sword. This one is a free special summon if you control a Raizeol, which it's very easy to do, of course. Most importantly, because this one, the Duo Drive, is a generic 4. I'm not really sure why they did that, but it's worked out very well for the deck. So getting this online is very easy. This is one of the best cards in the archetype. X Raizeol, unbelievable. It's a free special summon, literally free, and you send a XYZ monster to the graveyard. And one of the best targets is this Mirologic Aggregator. When it's sent to the graveyard, it negates a face-up card. So I was playing a game, or my opponent had a Floodgate up, a continuous spell, or continuous trap Floodgate. I special summon this. It searches too, which is disgusting. So I think it was like a skill drain type of card. So you special summon this card and you chain link it. Chain link 1 X Raizeol, chain link 2 Aggregator, negating the face up continuous trap, and I still get the search. It's really amazing what this card does. And again, so you can technically call this another going second card, because you do get to negate not just a monster, but a face up card. 1 copy of Ascended. Now, this is where you probably want to alter the deck. And again, some of these rely on you only controlling level or rank 4 monsters to get their search effects. But it's so tempting to go into F-Zero. You do have the opportunity to do it, and that's where I run Ascended Stage. If you go to the gameplay video that I did, you'll see like some of the cases. Because at the end of the day, Duo Drive is spent, and there's nothing really that you can do about it. So you can loop through rank 4s very easily, like spent ones, and then go into F-Zero, which is just such a good card. And also, this deck doesn't really have too much monster negates. There's the Aggregator, and that's kind of the power monster negate. There's also Field Spell that came out, and I will test that a little bit. Of course, you can take out one of your like 15 hand traps to run it. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. It's not necessarily important, and like I said, this isn't like my final list that I'll like play forever. Um, but yeah, that's why I like to run F-Zero for now, right? You just get to special summon this from the deck and then do your rank 4 loops again, just so you can make F-Zero. And then this is the Onomat lineup that I run. 1 coat, 1 glove, 1 onomatopoeia, 3 copies of onomatopoeia, and then pickup. Pickup is so important because, of course, it searches onomatopoeia, but also it can straight up just search this card. So if you see both in your hand, that's a really good thing. And like I said, 3 Pot of Prosperity, and then, of course, the Trap, which lets you destroy based on how many face-up Raizeol XYZ monsters you control. So if you do have this spent one on the field and it's not doing anything, at least it uses itself for an extra pop. Although in my case, I've found that when I do use it, it's early on in my opponent's turn. Like maybe I blow up their normal summon and I'm trying to stop them. So I didn't really need the second pop, but that is worth noting. 1 copy each of the Raizeol XYZ monsters. Again, who knows what they'll be called. And I talked about F-Zero, talked about Utopic Sage. I've talked about Aggregator a lot. Tornado Dragon is still a really good card. Abyss Dweller. And if you do end up dropping this, and you can drop this too, and then you can drop this too, the rank 4 engine is so vast. There's so many cards that you can put in there, obviously. So tons of flexibility here. But these cards, of course, are amazing. Abyss Dweller can just stop your opponent from playing, depending on the deck. And then just being able to use this twice during your opponent's turn for those field spells, for those continuous spells, is really unbelievable. Castel, you need removal in every possible way that you can conceive. So this is a good one. Utopia Lightning is another option if you want to go into the Utopia engine. But this, of course, is like the best generic one. Zeus. I do run the Zodiac package in here. Now, this is, again, you're running rank 4, so you got to get a little bit creative. You're hitting a ceiling in terms of what you want to put up during your opponent's turn. These two are great. Now, I like to run the Tellarknight engine, so Ptolemaeus, attach Deltros, and then during your opponent's turn, you just quick effect go into I love Constellar Diamond. I just think the card looks cool, so that's why I play it. It's not necessarily I think this is like the best thing ever. Although, Beatrice, tons of cards sent from deck to graveyard. At the end of the day, this is a card that just wins you some matchups. So I think it's worth running blind due to like the decks that actually use this card. But, there's other rank 5s, like one of the easy ones, of course, is Chronomaly. It's a monster negate. So, again, for a deck that has a weakness at monster negate, maybe this is a great option for you. I'm not sure. So let me go ahead and I'm going to showcase just a couple of combos so you can see really what the deck is all about. So the first one is standard, right? Like I said, the rank 4 is generic and it searches 2 cards. So you don't really have to play through the Raizeol engine. You can get there. So this is a 2.5 card combo. So like I said, this can search you the onomatopoeia and then you search the other 2 cards. One thing I think is cool as well, it depends on the hand, the other cards in your hand. But if they do imperm this, of course, this is already a free special summon, so it's kind of bait in a sense. But this card is stuck in your hand. Well, if you are running the Raizeol cards, or you do see them in your hand, you can pitch it. Remember, like most of them have this effect where you can pitch a card from hand or field to special summon itself. And then this would be a great one to do that, because once it's in the graveyard, it can still special summon itself back. So the 2 cards come out, and of course, you're going to go into the Duo Drive, which is going to search you 2 cards. Of course, one of them you want to be the Trap because it's very good. And the other one you can search a lot. Now, X Raizeol is good because it's a bridge to search all the other ones. The fact that all of them have these cool effects of free special summoning and searching is what makes them so powerful. Of course, you can bring that back, and of course, you can bring back codes. So you've just looped through an insane little loop here. Now, this is a way to chain block. At this point, your opponent probably would have used Ash, but you never know, okay? You truly never know. At the very least, it's worth mentioning, and I talked about the example with the continuous trap, you can chain block. And you can go into Ptolemaeus, special summon the Raizeol, which is going to search the other one. Even if you normal summon, it's cool to be able to search ice, because you can still use the special summon effect. And then during my opponent's turn, of course, you're just going to go into whatever rank 5 of choice that you want. So my opponent cannot send cards to the grave from deck to graveyard. They cannot activate effects of cards in the graveyard. I have the ability to pop 2 cards. Pop even more. These are 3 more pops plus a monster negate. It does struggle against spells and traps, kind of. Like field spells you're not worried about because you're going to be able to pop them. Continuous spells you're not worried about because you're going to be able to pop them. If your opponent plays, you get to just pop a card on the field. So, and if your opponent has Dark World or more, you still have a monster negate and you still have a pop too, which is also really, truly beneficial. So that's what the Onomat engine brings to it. But what if you don't see the Onomat cards? There's tons of variations of this. I just want to show that it's this one, a singular card. And again, this is why you can run, 15, 18 going second cards. You just get to normal summon. You get to bring out a buddy. Having 2 good normal summons that can also be a special summon is great. And like I said, all of these cards search each other. So you can add 2 more cards to the hand. And again, this is spent, so you can get a little bit creative in the way that you do things. You can chain block again. And now I'm going into this one. So the aggregator is going to be attached to it. Tribute that spent one. That way you can bring back a rank 4 and you can go into another one. Of course, depending on the matchup, this could be Tornado Dragon, which could be really good. This could be Abyss Dweller. And then this is obviously just kind of the generic Constellar Diamond line. But this is a pop, multiple pops, plus a monster negate, plus whatever floodgate, depending on the matchup. I would blind Constellar Diamond because I think it's good. And also, I like the way it looks. Shiny cardboard is cool. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Other than that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.